Hey guys, welcome back to the Film Room. This video is based on a lot of requests that I've received recently about people who want to know, as a guard, how do you become more efficient or effective becoming a scorer, especially when you're undersized. So I'm going to take some footage of 4 really impactful high-level scorers from Euro basketball, and what I found is that they all do very similar things to score consistently night in and night out, especially as an undersized guard, that we're going to break down so that you know what to work on so that you can become this elite. So as you're looking at the stats from these 4 players that we're going to break down in this video, know that they range anywhere from 5'9" to 6'2". And I'm also going to use this opportunity to remind you that if you want to watch EuroLeague basketball, which in my opinion is one of the best leagues that you can watch in the world, you can use my code FILMROOM15 to get a 15% discount on an annual EuroLeague pass. Check out the link in the description of this video if it's something that you're interested in. So if you're someone that wants to be an elite scorer, whether you like this or not, the 3-ball is king. As an undersized guard or someone who has the ball in their hands a lot, you have to be able to consistently make 3-pointers. And more specifically, when we're talking about elite scoring guards, you've got to be able to make 3-pointers when a guy is guarding you this tight. And what you're going to see in this video is that these 4 guards don't live and die by the 3-ball. They attack the paint a lot, but the reason they're able to do that is because they can shoot the 3. So when you see a defender going for a shot fake 30 feet away from the basket, it's because these guards have proven that they can make shots from out there, which allows them to get downhill. Now they can get into the paint and become a 3-level scorer, which is something that we'll talk about very soon. So if you're an undersized guard that's not experiencing defenders guarding you like this with a hand up that far away from the basket, it's because you haven't proven to be a good enough 3-point shooter, and you're going to need to work on that to gain that respect. Now, one of the most important things about being a 3-point shooter is how deep your range is, because the deeper you can shoot it away from the basket, the further defenders have to guard you, which creates more space for you to be able to drive past them and get downhill. And the #1 separator with these elite guards isn't just that they can make deep 3s, but they also have the ability to make 3s when they are heavily contested. When you're still able to make shots when the defense is playing this well, that is what gives you the opportunity to be able to score every single night, no matter who you're playing. And this doesn't happen by accident. All these guards spend hours in the gym getting shots up and shooting against live defenders so that they can become this proficient. Now, it's important to note that all of these players have different specialties. For instance, Carson Edwards that you're seeing right here is one of the best off-the-dribble 3-point shooters in EuroLeague. And that doesn't mean that he can't do other things or score in different ways, but when it comes down to it, when he needs a bucket, this is what he knows. He's spent the time and put the reps in to be able to knock these shots down. And on the contrary, you've got TJ Shorts, who is an elite driver that isn't as good from 3, where defenders are going to dare him to shoot it so that they don't get beat off the bounce. So if your game is more similar to his, you've got to be able to make these shots so that defenders can't play off of you and take away what you're really good at. Because most undersized guards all develop the ability to get to the rim, which is the second thing we're going to talk about. But more importantly, getting to the rim at a high level does not look like this, where it's uncontested and you can just get downhill and beat everybody with your speed. More times than not, at an elite level, you're going to have a size disadvantage when you go to score, and you've got to be creative and understand how to use angles and your body to shield off bigger defenders like you see here, so that you can finish even when you have bigger help defenders that are trying to block your shot. But what I think has proven to be even more important than learning how to shield off defenders is having elite touch when you get to the basket. You will almost always have defenders that are trying to block your shot or wall up, and you've got to have the ability to put the ball high off the glass with touch at full speed if you want to be someone that can score around the rim. Here's some live examples of these guards scoring over help defenders. Now, when When it comes to scoring at the rim, it's important to understand you have more than one option. Knowing that these help defenders are going to get vertical and try and block your shot doesn't mean that you have to always shoot floaters over the top, but when you've proven you can do that, it creates angles for you to be able to score around those big defenders as well. So the thing I want you to take away as you watch some of these live examples is that you're not going to get wide open easy layups. You are going to have to learn how to score over, around, or sometimes through help defenders if you want to be someone who can score at the rim at an elite level. The third area that we have to take a look at is the mid-range game. And the reason I didn't specifically call it the mid-range jumper is because there's more things that you can do in this area of the court than just shoot jump shots. Because some of these players will actually choose to shoot floaters and runners from the mid-range over shooting traditional jump shots. Now, the reason this area ties your entire game together is because defenders are going to do everything they can to keep you out of the paint when you drive, which is going to open up a lot of opportunities to score in this mid-range area. Because there's a lot of good guards that can score it at the rim, they can make a three, but what happens is when they get past their defender, like you're going to see right here, and the help defense does a great job of taking away angles to the rim, they don't have the ability to score in this area, and that's what separates good guards from great guards. Now, if you want to shoot runners or floaters from that mid-range area to become a three-level scorer, that's great. But if you want to shoot a jumper, here's what you have to do as an undersized guard. Number one, you have to elevate and get off the ground, and you have to have a high release point. I'm going to show you why those two things are absolutely essential, and you will not be successful in the mid-range game without them. The disadvantage to being undersized is that you have to create separation. But even when you make a great move like that step back, oftentimes you're going to get a great contest, and if you don't know how to elevate off the ground and extend the ball and shoot from a high release point, you're not going to be able to get a shot off. So with all four of these guards, you're going to see them all elevate, have a high release point, and most of these shots are pretty heavily contested, but they've worked long enough to be able to make those difficult shots, and that's what makes them elite at scoring. So I always like to encourage guys that you have to earn the right to be able to take these type of shots by putting in the work to know that you're going to make them and they're not going to be low percentage. Because one of the biggest disconnects in today's game is that players want to be three-level scorers, but they don't put in the work to be able to make these shots at a high percentage, so coaches tell them not to shoot it and players feel like they're being handcuffed, when the reality is, unless you can make these shots at a high percentage, it's not a shot you should be shooting. Make no mistake about it, having a player with a mid-range game can change the dynamic of your entire offense, but only when it's done efficiently. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is something that I've seen a lot in the comments, and that's how do I get to the rim? A lot of you have struggled to figure that out because you're not able to just blow by your defender at will, which there are very few people who have the ability to do that. So a few tips that I have for you to help you out if this is something you're struggling with is look at your defender's feet first and foremost. I'm a huge believer in attacking the top foot because if you can get a step of an advantage that direction, what ends up happening is your defender has to open up his hips, and now he is susceptible to allowing you to get downhill, which is all we need to do to either score or create an advantage. Now, if you're the opposite and you prefer to drive to where they're forcing you, that works too. So in this situation, if you want to drive to your left where the defender is forcing you, it really comes down to a foot race. So I like the idea of lulling your defender to sleep, and then you have to take off as fast as you can to beat him to that spot. I love the angle of this next possession because it shows what you should be seeing as a ball handler. As Dunn comes off of this ball screen, this gap right here is where he decides that he's going to drive. Now, when you commit to driving in that gap, you have to do it with full confidence that you can get past your man, knowing that there is a help defender who could rotate over that you have to pay attention to. So recognizing these gaps will help you know where to drive, but you also need to know the personnel who's guarding you. As TJ Shorts comes off this ball screen, he recognizes that he has a speed advantage over this big, and so instead of playing around, he goes right past him at full speed and is able to get to the rim. And if you're watching these things and none of them have worked for you, the last thing that you can do is utilize ball screens to get an advantage. As this big flips the ball screen and sets it on the ball handler's left, because of that screen, it opens the defender up that direction, and now he has all of this space to attack downhill. By doing this, you no longer have to rely on your athleticism. You can actually manipulate your defender by the presence of a ball screen. Watch what happens to the defender as the ball screen gets set. He is trying so hard to jump through this screen that he opens himself up to get rejected, and now it's an easy, simple drive downhill to the ball handler's left hand. And there's a lot of creative ways to use ball screens to help you score, and I'll link a video that I made a while ago right here in the corner where you can utilize things like putting your defender in jail, like you see right here, to be able to get downhill. What I hope you take away from this video is that being undersized doesn't limit you from being an elite scorer, but it is going to take an extreme amount of dedication to your craft, and you have to have the confidence to perform in the moments that you're called on, but the only way that you can have confidence is by the work that you put in. So now it's up to you to get in the gym and work on these 3 areas of scoring. Thanks for coming through. We'll see you next time in the film room.